You had it down to 5. You made a good comeback. First of all, let's just concentrate on the comeback. How did the team do that?
Yeah, I think that they just started to play with some energy. I think we came out of the second half just so flat, and Morris came out ready to try to take the momentum, and they took it right away. And we just couldn't gain it back. But then all of a sudden, the girls started flying around a little bit more, and being a little bit more active. And then, yeah, some good things happened for us. And then, yeah, got the game within a couple possessions. But yeah, couldn't get it done.
Mm-hmm. You know, to defensively against for Melrose, they had way too many baskets near the basket for Morris tonight. But again, you know, Maddie Grove's a fine player. She had 24. What was the game plan defensively against this team tonight?
Yeah, and I think that's part of the frustration is, you know, a lot of the whole scouting report was you cannot let Grove get going. She cannot get any open, clean looks. And then you got to box out the backside because they got some posts that they box out hard. And I just don't think we did a very good job of executing that. I thought Maddie had way too many open looks at the basket, just easy looks. And then I think when they did get a shot up and they missed, they got way too many second chances with the O board. So, yeah, overall the game plan was to just communicate, talk where she is, try to get the ball out of her hands, and then to rebound. And we didn't do either of those things very well.
You know, not so much in the second half, but in the first half, Morris was going zone, man, and zone. And with the shot clock, is that a factor for a team like Melrose or for anybody really?
Yeah, I think, before shot clock, I think some teams' philosophy would have been to be a little bit, be patient, spread it out, look for the openings, wait for it to break down. You don't necessarily have that luxury right now. But for us, it hasn't really changed our principles. We want to attack gaps, fake a pass to make a pass, try to get the ball in the high post in the short corner, and have good ball movement. But yeah, I think you're going to see a little bit more of some of those maybe zone presses where they're not trying necessarily to get a steal, but just to waste some time. And I think zones might become a little bit more popular, just for the simple fact, like you said, that you can't run offense for a very long time, and you have to get a shot up.
You know, too, I think, again, you've only played 3 games in the season so far, and some of the girls are just getting used to whatever role they have. How do you look at the Melrose team right now? You had a game against BBE, who was really good, but then a nice win over Brandon Evansville. A closer game here tonight, but what are you seeing from your Melrose team this year?
Yeah, I think when we're competing and playing confident and playing with good energy, I think we've got a lot of length that we can do a lot of really good things. It's just about finding that consistency. You know, we had way too many turnovers versus BB, and then we almost cut them in, in a quarter against Brandon Evansville, and then we had a really good game that game. And then today, I think in the second half, we had so many turnovers here versus Morris. It's just finding that consistency of play, because I think that with our energy and length and some of our hustle, we can compete with anybody. It's just cleaning up the little things and finding, like I said, that the consistent play night in, night out.
Can you break it down even further then and mention some of the players and what you hope to get out of them?
Yeah, so Rhea, Cadence, and Paige are our returners from last year. All 3 of those are starters, and so we need them to step up on both ends, just carrying more of the workload defensively, carrying more of the workload offensively. I think last year's team was a little bit more balanced of scores. This year they're going to have to kind of fill in some of those gaps. And then you've got Nora Schwieters and Izzy are really good athletes for us. They can do a lot of good things. And then off the bench right now, we've been playing Jasmine Finken, who's a good shooting post for us. She can do good rebounder, good shooter. And then Keekly and Ellie provide really good energy. They know where they're supposed to be. Do a lot of good things as far as hustle plays and getting to their spots. And so those are the girls that have kind of really seen the rotation so far. Avery Birch has given us some minutes, and she's done some really good things as well, filling in at the center position. But, yeah, so that's kind of the girls we have right now, and some of those girls that haven't seen time are still learning and how to get into that speed of the varsity time, and that's going to take some time, but hopefully we can get used to that sooner than later.
Well, and that is the truth. I mean, as a player develops, I mean, she knew she threw a bad pass. Okay, you don't have to yell at her to tell her that. She knows that, but it's just the learning process, right? Just get better at it as the season goes on. Correct?
Yeah, and I think too, like I just told the girls, and in the locker room, it starts in practice with us though. Like some of the careless things or the things that we get away with in practice, you're not going to get away with versus other varsity teams. And so we've got to start holding ourselves accountable better when we're practicing as far as turnovers and defense and rebounding and all those things, and not develop those bad habits. But yeah, like you said, they know what they did wrong. It's just, don't make the same mistake twice is kind of my philosophy. Obviously you make that turnover and it's a bad pass and you threw it because you left your feet or you weren't playing off 2, but then don't do that again. And so we just don't want to see repeats of the same problem. But it's all a learning process. Again, they've got a lot of girls that haven't played varsity, and it's just going to take some time for them to get into the swing of the speed of varsity competition.
And I'll just touch on this too. I think, is it true that also too you have to get in basketball shape, right?
Yeah, and that's exactly it. And we just have to be better conditioned, and that happens, as the year gets on, then all of a sudden you're able to, all of a sudden in the second half when you're maybe a little slow to a closeout or slow to rotation, where as the year goes on, then as you're getting more and more shape, then those things aren't happening. And so, but it goes both ways for both teams. I mean, they got to get themselves into shape too, in better shape, and so I think all teams go through that.